I've had some conversations with some people before, and they say my mother must have been one of the crazy persons at that time. This was like what? Like 80s, early 90s, you know? Art wasn't like a paying thing. So they were like, she must be crazy. But my mother she just cares less. She was like, you're good at it, just do it. I have senior ones. So one of my brother's friend was studying architecture that time, and he would come around, and I used to draw a lot of comics. In fact, to be honest, I used to sell comics in my primary school. This bros would come to the house and we would be drawing. And I'll be like, I can draw too. So we'll be having competitions and stuff. That was something that really made me understand the skill that I have as an artist, because I was competing with this very older guy. Then also in primary school, there was another guy that was drawing comics, and his own was way better than mine. So he would sell for like 1 naira, I would sell for like 70 kobo. And I think this made me feel that competitive energy, being a creative, so it made me want to be better. By that time, I still wanted to become an architect because of my senior brother's friend. I think after JAMB, I missed chemistry or whatever it was, physics. I can't remember that I would have needed for architecture. And my mother was like, instead of doing JAMB again, you know, you're always doing very well in this fine arts. Why don't you just enter for fine art first year and second year? If you want to cross into architecture, then you can. And that's how I got to study fine art. Not because I wanted to, it was because of our guidance. Of course, once you get into art class, everything becomes competitive again. Another lecturer of mine picked on me, and he was like, why do you want to still go and study architecture? Just finish this first. That's how I got stuck. I started selling from my year one. So I'm this type of person. If this is what I'm doing, I just give myself extra study. By the time I knew that I was going to go into uni for fine art, I was already studying on my own. I had a portfolio even moving in as a year one student. So I remember that my portfolio that I took to school, I took them back home and found a gallery in Ibadan. The gallery then was called the Rock Shop. So I started selling with them from 1998. I remember then I would just drop works and go to school. And when I come back on holidays on the breaks, they would tell me, you know, what's been sold, what's not been sold. And I remember then, they just tell me that some Dutch guy would just come and clear my works. That was me as a student. One of the things that led me to meeting Tolawewe, because I met him when I was in school. His son was a student, but he was in geography or something. This guy would come to the fine art department and would see my work. He saw one painting one day and he said, this work reminds him of his dad's work. So I was like, who's your dad? He said, Tolawewe. He now found a catalog of Kainebi. And he said, this man is my dad's friend. I've always wanted to meet Kainebi Osai. So I told this guy, I said, okay, all right, let me meet your dad. You know, maybe he's going to hook me up with this Mr. Kainebi. And that was what took me to Tolawewe Studio. Wanting to meet Kainebi was what took me to meet Tolawewe. When I got to his studio and I saw his works, I was like, okay, interesting. I just made something in this style, and that's what your son saw that brought me here. I said, okay, he's gonna put me on an experiment that he's trying to do. He said he's gonna put me, fine art student, this Babala who is into his culture and understands, you know, the Yoruba and the meanings and mythologies and traditions, and also this academically trained art teacher. So put all three of us together, including himself, and we'll be working in the studio. And I didn't know that was a residency at that time, but that was actually what he did. All of this was really tough for me because first I hadn't been to Lagos to exhibit. I was in school. I was within the four walls of academia. Tola would give me assignments like draw a bird. Of course, me, I'll draw it like a nice pigeon. And then I would say, no, draw a bird like a 3-year-old, and I would fail at it. But after a while, I got the hang of it. And that was when I was allowed to now start painting. But that old type of guy, the traditionalist guy, this guy started from day one, he started painting because he never went to any art school. He wants to draw a bird, he's just going to draw like wing there, legs here, beak here, that's it, done. Like a 3-year-old. And that kind of like gave me an understanding of what art is really about. It is not learned, it is in you, and you have to make it as much as possible to come from within you. The Greek Embassy was celebrating something for 54 years. They wanted to give 54 awards to 54 Nigerian artists. It was Mama Nike that called me. She said, oh, Ayoola, they've shortlisted your name for an award. You know, I was shocked, to be honest, because I was just with Signature, just doing my work. You know, I'm socializing normally with my friends. And it was until they called my name and I went on stage that it really sank in. In 2007, I was just an artist. I was just doing my own thing. I didn't even consider myself like I'm doing anything special. That was very pivotal for me. The first time that I got a call from NBC Universal, the production company, asking me for permission to use my work in When They See Us, that hit me. It's a very important series. It's a very important production. It has global impact, right? It has an important story to tell. For them to have chosen my work, to me, it meant that I'm doing something right. Because everything is curated, right? The work has to fit the storytelling or the scene. The reason why I'm saying this is I delayed for a minute. They would send emails again. The second one in recent time is when I designed the box for Glenfiddich 26 years, the whiskey company. Adrian she called me and said, oh, you know, Glenfiddich wants to do this. And I've told them you're the right man for the job. She told them, it's me or nobody else, that I'm the perfect fit. That was when I started reading about the company. It hit me hard when I read that. First of all, it's over 100 years being family owned, being family controlled, being family managed for all these years. And the word tradition hit me. The truth is I'm a very private person, and people don't understand it when I say that because of the way I behave when they see me outside. My wife will tell you I'm an actor. I'm like a sponge, you know? I'm outside. I have to be that sponge. I have to soak up all these things that I need for my work. In my privacy, when I start to work, when I start to be with my family, then I begin to regurgitate these things, whether on the canvas or writing notes, or then my real personality becomes awake. I can't do it if it's not honest. I can't make art if it's not honest. I don't care whether it looks good. I don't care whether it looks bad. That's not my point. My point is be honest first. I would say in a way I'm a people user, that type of thing.